Clutter isn't just mess. It's a hidden thief. It steals your space, your peace of mind, and sometimes even your mobility. After 60, what you keep around you matters more than ever. A small stack of boxes can become a big fall risk. A drawer full of someday items can quietly weigh you down. But here's the real shocker. It's not what you're holding onto. It's what it's holding you back from. So, which of these 7 brutal decluttering rules are you breaking without realizing it? Stick around. One of them might just change your life. Meet Clara, a 72-year-old widow living in a quiet suburb of Ohio. For decades, her home had been her sanctuary, filled with souvenirs from vacations, shelves of books she meant to read, and every birthday card her late husband ever gave her. But over time, those comforting things became something else entirely. Clutter she didn't know how to face. It wasn't laziness. It was love, nostalgia, guilt. Letting go felt like erasing the past. But last winter, Clara had a moment that changed everything. She was carrying laundry when her foot caught on an old wooden footstool, buried beneath a pile of folded blankets. The fall left her bruised and shaken, and for the first time, she looked around and didn't see memories. She saw obstacles. Clara didn't need a bigger house. She needed less inside it. That day, she promised herself, no more walking through a maze of yesterday just to live today. If you've ever looked around your home and felt overwhelmed, you're not alone. Clara's journey might feel a little like yours. And if you stick with us through these 7 rules, you just might discover how a lighter home can lead to a freer, safer life. Before we dive in, go ahead and tap that like button if this already speaks to you, and subscribe if you're ready to reclaim peace, purpose, and space in the years ahead. It started with a shelf in the kitchen. Clara was rearranging the pantry when she realized something strange. Tucked in the back were not 1, not 2, but 4 extra slow cookers. One still had the price tag dangling. She stared at them, confused. When did she even buy these? Maybe it was for Thanksgiving, maybe a church potluck, or maybe just in case. That last part hit her hard. Just in case had quietly become her excuse for everything. An extra fondue pot, just in case the grandkids came over. Piles of plastic containers, just in case she hosted leftovers. Jackets 2 sizes too small, just in case she lost weight. Sound familiar? For many seniors, just in case becomes the reason we hold on to things we'll never use again. We convince ourselves we might need it one day, yet months, even years go by, and those items never move. They sit in closets, garages, and cupboards, collecting dust and stealing space from what really matters: ease, clarity, and peace of mind. Let's be honest. After 60, our needs evolve. Our lifestyle shifts. That old tent from family camping trips. You don't go camping anymore. The set of fondue forks? You can't even remember the last time they saw cheese. Holding on to unused things creates mental noise. It becomes visual clutter that competes for your attention daily. Clara realized the truth when she tripped, again, over an unopened sewing machine box in her hallway closet. She hadn't touched a needle in 15 years. That machine wasn't waiting to be used. It was waiting to be let go. Here's a gentle but important truth. If you haven't used it in the past 12 months, odds are you won't in the next 12. The seasons have come and gone. Holidays passed. Life moved on. If the item didn't serve a purpose during that time, maybe it's time to release it. And no, letting go doesn't mean being careless. It means being clear about what adds value to your life right now. Ask yourself, did I even remember I had this? Would I go out and buy this again today? Does this item serve who I am now, not who I used to be? If the answer is no, you know what to do. Clara started with 1 drawer in the kitchen, then 1 shelf in her hall closet. Within a week, she had filled 3 donation boxes, just from the I might need this someday pile, and she didn't miss a single item. Here's the best part. Letting go made room for things that actually matter to her today. Her reading chair by the window, her puzzle table near the fireplace, and the peace of walking through her home without feeling overwhelmed. Be honest. How many things in your closet or cabinets haven't seen the light of day in years? What's one item you know you're holding on to just in case? Let us know in the comments below. You might inspire someone else to finally let go too. And don't worry, If this feels tough, you're not alone. Clara felt the same way. But she'll be the first to tell you. Freedom starts when you stop holding on to things you no longer need. Ready for the next one? Because rule number 2 is the one most people get stuck on emotionally, and it's probably hiding in your attic. One rainy afternoon, Clara was digging through the back of her closet when she found a dusty cardboard box. She hadn't opened it in years. Inside was her late husband's old baseball glove, stiff with age but still holding the curve of his hand. She could almost hear the thud of the ball and his laughter echoing across the neighborhood field. For a moment, Clara sat frozen. Her heart swelled and then sank. She hadn't touched that glove in 15 years. It hadn't been displayed. It hadn't been used. It simply waited in the dark. Was she honoring the memory or hiding from it? This is where many seniors get stuck. We confuse emotional value with practical value. We think, if I let go of this object, I'm letting go of the person or the moment. But that's not true. Memories live in your heart, not in your storage bin. Keeping every sentimental item eventually turns your home into a museum, one you can't comfortably live in. Clara had ticket stubs from a 1974 concert, faded birthday cards, and a worn apron from her mother-in-law. Sweet memories, yes, but they had become clutter, crowding out her present-day peace. So here's the gentle truth. You don't have to keep everything to remember something. Instead, preserve the meaning, not the mess. Take photos of meaningful items. Write a short story or caption with each one. Collect them into a memory album, a physical one or digital, whichever feels right. You'll be surprised how powerful it is to see the memory without needing to store the object. Clara did just that. She laid the baseball glove out on her kitchen table, snapped a photo in the morning light, and wrote, "His hand held mine for 42 years. He taught our boys how to catch, how to swing, how to lose with grace. I'll never forget that." She then passed the glove to her grandson, who had just joined his school's baseball team. That simple act turned a dusty memory into a living legacy. And guess what? Clara didn't feel loss. She felt relief and then joy. We're not saying throw away your memories, we're saying honor them in a way that doesn't weigh down your present. Keep what truly moves your heart. But if an item has been in a box for over a decade and you never take it out, maybe it's time to let go with love. Letting go isn't forgetting, it's making space for who you are now. Have you held on to something purely out of sentiment? What is it, and what memory does it carry? Share it in the comments. Sometimes writing it out is the first step toward healing and moving forward. Clara used to keep a small footstool near the hallway, right where the light didn't quite reach. It was her just-in-case seat, something she could lean on while slipping on her shoes. It had been there for years. She never thought twice about it, until the night she did. She was heading to the kitchen during a power outage, her flashlight flickering. One misstep, one soft edge in the dark, and down she went. A fractured wrist, a bruised hip, and 6 weeks of physical therapy. That footstool? It wasn't just clutter. It became a hazard hiding in plain sight. Here's the hard truth. As we age, our homes don't just feel smaller, they can become riskier. What once felt cozy and familiar might now be full of silent dangers. And yet so many seniors overlook one of the most important safety rules. Keep your walkways clear, especially your exits. Think about your home right now. Is there a plant stand near the stairs? A rug curling at the edges near the front door? A basket of old magazines sitting beside your favorite chair? Each one of these can turn from innocent to dangerous in a heartbeat. And the irony? These are often the very items we stop seeing. They blend into our lives so completely, we forget they're even there, until we stumble over them. Clutter doesn't just take up space, it slows your movement, limits your choices in an emergency, and increases your fall risk. And for seniors, a single fall can mean more than pain. It can mean a complete shift in independence. Clara's accident was her wake-up call. When she returned home from the hospital, her daughter insisted they do a full safety sweep. At first, Clara resisted. She felt like they were rearranging her life without her say. But as they walked from room to room, something shifted. She saw things she hadn't noticed in years. an umbrella stand teetering at the back door, a pile of shoes spilling into the hallway, even an old trunk near the base of the stairs. These weren't charming quirks anymore. They were risks. They started small, removed the footstool, rolled up the throw rug, moved the bookshelf a few inches back. Then came brighter bulbs, nightlights, handrails, simple upgrades that didn't change the feel of her home, but transformed the safety of it. And it made Clara feel something she hadn't in a long time. Confidence. She could move freely. She felt lighter, more in control. Here's your moment of truth. Have you done a safety walkthrough of your home recently? Go through your hallways, exits, and staircases today. Not tomorrow, today. Use your phone's flashlight or ask a friend to walk with you and point out the trip hazards. You might be surprised what you find. And if it feels overwhelming, start with just one path, the one from your bedroom to the front door. That's your lifeline. Clear it like your independence depends on it, because it does. Have you done a safety check recently? Or do you think your home might have a hidden danger? Share in the comments. Your story might help someone else catch a risk before it becomes an emergency. Clara never thought twice about those boxes in her closet. They were filled with office supplies, pens, paper clips, sticky notes, old folders, things she had accumulated over decades working as a secretary before retiring 12 years ago. A red stapler she loved, a planner from a project long forgotten, boxes of binder clips that never saw the light of day anymore. But here's the kicker. Those boxes weren't just filled with office supplies. They were filled with her past. A past that had already moved on. For years, Clara kept them because it felt like a part of her still belonged to that time. Her work life, her routine, the importance she had once felt in those little tasks. She kept them out of nostalgia, out of habit, but most of all because she didn't know who she was now without them. But the truth? What you keep in your home should reflect who you are today, not who you were yesterday. Think about it. How many of us do this? We look around our homes and we see the remnants of who we used to be, not who we are becoming. Old fitness gear you haven't touched in years. Unopened kitchen gadgets from when you thought you'd love cooking like a chef. Books and hobbies from a time when you thought you'd be a painter, a traveller, a gardener. Yet life took you down a different road. Here's the reality. Holding on to things that don't serve your present life keeps you anchored in the past. It holds you back from embracing the next chapter. Clara finally faced it. She had a drawer filled with business cards she never needed, a calculator she hadn't used since her last day at work, and a box of paper clips that were now obsolete. As she opened those boxes, she realized something deep. Her home had become a museum of what she had once been, not a sanctuary for who she was becoming. So she made the decision to clear it out. One by one, she sorted through each box. She asked herself, is this part of my current life? The answer was often no. The stapler, the pens, the folder, all were things that belonged to a different time, a time she had already celebrated and left behind. What Clara learned, and what you can too, is this. Let your space reflect the life you're living now. If something no longer serves a purpose, whether it's a physical item or a memory, then it's time to let go. And the amazing part? When you clear the clutter, you make room for new experiences, new hobbies, new memories. Clara felt a huge shift after she donated all those office supplies. She didn't just make room on her shelves, she made room in her mind. Her house no longer felt like a museum of what she used to do. It became a sanctuary for what she was doing now. Here's the golden question for you. Is your home a museum of your past or a sanctuary for your present? Think about it. What do you truly need in your space to serve your life right now? It's time to let go of what no longer serves you and make space for the person you are becoming. You deserve it. Take a moment and reflect. What's one thing in your home that no longer fits who you are today? Share it in the comments, and let's talk about the freedom that comes from letting go. But Clara wasn't done yet. She learned one more truth about decluttering that shifted everything for her, and it's one you don't want to miss. Stay tuned for rule number 5, because it's the game changer you never saw coming. Clara felt the weight of the task ahead of her. Every corner of her home seemed to be filled with clutter. Bookshelves overflowing, drawers crammed with old receipts, cabinets jammed with kitchen gadgets she'd forgotten about. It felt overwhelming. At first, Clara thought, where do I even begin? She was paralyzed by the sheer volume of things that needed to be sorted, decluttered and donated. She would look at her living room and think, this is too much. I can't do it all in one day. Maybe I should just give up. But then she remembered something her daughter said during their last visit. Start small, Mum. Just 15 minutes a day. At first, Clara dismissed it. 15 minutes. What good could that do? But desperation made her willing to try anything. So she did. She chose a single drawer in her kitchen, the one filled with old pens, receipts, and expired coupons. For 15 minutes, Clara gave herself permission to focus on just that one spot. No other distractions. No pressure to finish everything. Just 15 minutes of pure focus. When she finished, Clara felt a sense of accomplishment. That small drawer was clean and organized. It wasn't a huge transformation, but it was enough to make her feel like she had made a difference. The next day, Clara tackled a shelf in the hallway. The day after that, it was a basket of old magazines by the couch. Slowly, but surely, the clutter started to shrink. And here's the magic Clara discovered. Tiny wins add up. That one drawer, that one shelf, they didn't seem like much in the moment. But as the days went by, those 15-minute bursts of effort built momentum. By the end of the week, Clara had cleared out more than she ever thought possible. Here's the secret. You don't have to declutter your entire home in one go. It's about making small, consistent progress. 15 minutes a day, that's all it takes to build momentum. Now, Clara no longer feels overwhelmed by the thought of decluttering. She knows it's all about focusing on one small area at a time. It might be a drawer, a shelf, or a cabinet. But no matter how small, it counts. Each 15-minute session gives her a sense of accomplishment. And that sense of progress fuels her to keep going. The best part? Starting small makes decluttering feel achievable. It no longer seems like an endless task. It's manageable, and it's something she can fit into her day, no matter how busy she is. So what about you? What area could you tackle in 15 minutes today? It might be a drawer, it might be a countertop, it could even be a corner of the garage. Wherever you start, just make it small, because those tiny wins will stack up over time and bring you closer to a clutter-free life. Take it from Clara. Don't let the clutter overwhelm you. Start small and start today. What's one small area you could tackle in the next 15 minutes? Let us know in the comments, and we'll cheer you on. Remember, every little step counts. Rule number 6 is all about letting go of something that's hard to part with. It's tough, but once Clara did it, everything changed. You don't want to miss this one. Stay tuned for rule number 6. Clara's attic was a time capsule. Boxes upon boxes of her children's old things. High school yearbooks, sports trophies, piles of old clothes, and boxes of stuffed animals. The things that her kids had left behind when they moved out, years ago. At first, Clara kept them out of love. She thought, one day they might want these things again. She'd tell herself, it's just temporary. One day they'll come back and take it. But year after year, the boxes stayed in the attic, untouched. Her children had their own lives now, and those high school memories were no longer a priority. And deep down, Clara knew it. So why did she keep holding on to it all? Guilt. Clara felt guilty at the thought of throwing away her children's things. What if they came back home and asked for it? What if they wanted that stuffed bear from their childhood? But the truth was, her kids had moved on. They didn't need those things anymore, and they didn't even know they were still stored away in Clara's attic. It wasn't about their memories. It was about Clara holding on to them because she couldn't let go. One day, after a long conversation with her daughter, Clara had a breakthrough. Her daughter said, "Mom, you don't need to keep all of that stuff for me. If I want it, I'll come get it. But if I haven't asked for it in years, it's okay to let it go." It was a hard pill to swallow, but Clara realized her daughter was right. She wasn't just storing her children's things. She was keeping them out of a sense of obligation, of guilt. It was holding her back from living in the present and from fully decluttering her space. Clara took action. The next weekend, Clara went up to the attic and pulled out the boxes filled with memories. She started with the high school yearbooks. As she flipped through the pages, she smiled at the memories, but knew it was time to pass them on to her kids, or let them go if they didn't want them. She then made a simple rule. If my children haven't asked for it by now, they likely don't need it. And that's when Clara made the difficult but freeing decision: let it go. She called her children and said, "I'm going through some of your old things. If you want anything, let me know by the weekend. After that, I'm donating it." To her surprise, they didn't ask for much. They were thankful, but they didn't feel the need to hold on to the past either. Here's the key takeaway. It's okay to let go of items that aren't serving you or anyone else anymore. You don't need to store things for your kids, grandkids, or anyone else. It's not about being heartless or disrespecting memories. It's about understanding that clutter isn't just physical, it's emotional too. Holding on to things for other people out of guilt only adds to the chaos in your home and your mind. It's your space, and you have every right to decide what belongs there. Your home should reflect your life today, not the lives of others who've moved on. It can be tough to part with things that hold sentimental value, but you don't need to store things out of obligation. If your children, grandchildren, or loved ones haven't asked for it in years, it's okay to let it go. That's one less box to worry about, and it's one step closer to a clutter-free home. So here's a challenge for you. If you have something in your home that's been stored for someone else, ask yourself, do they really need it? If the answer is no, it's time to let it go. Release the guilt, make space for yourself, and create a home that truly serves you now. Do you have items in your home that you're holding on to for others? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on releasing the guilt and taking back your space. Clara learned one more crucial rule to making decluttering easier, and it was something that had always held her back. You won't want to miss this. It's the most freeing rule yet. Stay tuned for rule number 7. Clara had a confession. She still had an expensive treadmill that had been sitting in the corner of her bedroom for over 5 years, unused. She'd bought it with the best of intentions, thinking it would help her stay active. But life got in the way. Her knee pain, her busy schedule, and then, of course, the treadmill became another piece of furniture she walked around rather than on. Every time Clara walked past it, she'd feel a little sting of guilt. I should have used it, she thought. I spent so much money on that thing and now it's just collecting dust. But here's the thing. Guilt doesn't belong in your home. It doesn't matter how much you spent or what promises you made to yourself. It's not about the object. It's about the emotion it's creating in your life. That treadmill wasn't just taking up space. It was taking up mental space too. Every time Clara passed it, she'd feel like she hadn't lived up to her own expectations. And it wasn't the only thing. There was that unopened sewing kit, another gift she'd received from a friend who was passionate about crafting. She felt guilty for not using it. After all, the kit was thoughtful, and maybe one day she'd get into sewing, but not today, not at 72. Guilt like that only serves one purpose: to hold you back. It reminds you of things you haven't done, things you promised to do, things you should have done. But the truth is, life changes, priorities shift. And there's no shame in admitting that something just isn't working for you anymore. So Clara decided enough was enough. She gave herself permission to let go of those things that whispered, "You should have." And as soon as she did, a huge weight was lifted off her shoulders. It's not about regret. It's about peace. Your home should be a sanctuary, a place of comfort, not a space where you're constantly reminded of all the things you haven't done. Let go of the things that make you feel guilty, whether it's an old treadmill, unused gym equipment, or that half-finished knitting project, and create room for things that bring you joy, comfort, and peace. Remember, the only should that matters is that you should feel at home in your own space, surrounded by the things that truly serve you today, not the guilt of what you could have or should have done in the past. Clara learned a powerful lesson in releasing guilt, and it changed the way she looked at her home and her life. It wasn't about the treadmill, or the sewing kit, or any of the things that weren't serving her. It was about taking ownership of her space and choosing peace over pressure. Is there something in your home that makes you feel guilty every time you see it? Tell us about it in the comments, and don't forget to share how you plan to let it go. But the way Clara handled this next part is something every senior needs to hear. Stay tuned for the final tip that'll change your life. After following these 7 brutal decluttering rules, Clara was able to let go of over 30 bags of items. It wasn't easy, and it took time, but she did it. Now, Clara can walk freely through her home without tripping over clutter or feeling overwhelmed by the weight of unused things. Her hallways are clear, her spaces feel lighter. She breathes easier, knowing that every item in her home serves a purpose. And the best part, Clara made space for what truly matters: memories, comfort, and peace. Her home is no longer a collection of guilt, expectations, or clutter from the past. It's a sanctuary, a reflection of who she is right now, not who she was. Have you found yourself holding on to things that no longer serve you? Which of these 7 rules hit home for you? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, share it with someone who could use these tips, and don't forget to subscribe for more practical advice on how to live your best life after 60.